Hi guys and welcome back to Will It Who. Today we're going to be doing something different. This is going to be a comparison video, so we will be talking about the Titan comics. So there's issue 15 of Doctor Who Year 1 Titan comics, and here's a graphic novel which I just got recently of Fractures, which collects issue 6 to 10, and we're going to compare which one is better for your book. So let's start it off, shall we? First off, let's talk about story structure. Now, on a normal Titan Comics comic, you get the cover, and then when you open it up, you get you get an introduction. So you get the Doctor, the TARDIS, of Clara. You got the previously of what the story is. So if it was like a 3-part story, like this is like a 4-part story. And this is the finale part. You're gonna get a previously on. So you're going to get like what happened, you got the characters that are in the story, and you get just the comic in general. So you literally just get the issue that you just get the one-parter, which is what is shown on here. And it goes straight to the end, and you just get either the next time or just normally if it's the end of an era, it just gives you the end of the era, just give you next time. So that's what you get in a normal comic. Now it's very different with a Titan graphic novel, especially just Titan graphic novel in general, because it depends on who edited it, because it's very different. So, for example, this is volume 2 of Fractures. Obviously, you get the 3 characters, or the 3 bios of 3 characters. You got the Doctor, TARDIS, and Clara. You get previously what the last book was, or it would be like what was the adventures for volume 1. You get the issue in general. Look, you get no cover first, like you would get like an MCU sort of thing. And with this one, it's very different because it's the covers are not separate like you would see in a Marvel comic. So I think this is a cliffhanger for one part, but then it gets you straight into the next part. Like that's probably a cliffhanger for one part, and that's another, and it just gets you straight into it, like one big story. And for this graphic novel in general, it's a bit odd with how it's selected, with there just being, you get one big story obviously first, try not to spoil it, and then you get a cover, and then you get introduced to the next story. And for this one's a bit weird because it's a next story and then it goes to a cover, so it's like half split, half not, in a sort of way. And that's what you get in that graphic novel. Compared to some others, like, for example, the Sin Eaters graphic novel is very different, where every single issue is split. So the story is split. So you get issue 1, so you get a certain issue, so you get issue 11, then you get a cover. Issue 12, a cover. So this book is very similar to like MCU. This book is very similar to the MCU one. And then there's some others where it's just exactly the same as Fractures, where it's just one big story, and then you get a cover, and then you get another story and a cover. So that's what it mainly is. So, in summary, for story structure, the just normal issue comics get one issue, you get the introduction of characters, one issue, and a next time for the next issue. While graphic novels, because the full story's in there, they don't cut it apart, they don't split it with covers and just leave it one big story, then the next story, or they do split it sometimes into covers, so they can just show off my artwork, which is a bit confusing, and that's what gets me onto my next topic. Now we're on to the topic of variant covers and how the comics compare to the actual graphic novels when shown them in separate issues. So this is issue 5, and this is Arena Fever, which shows issue 6 to 10. Now, this is a strip before that, but in this graphic novel, it's very different with variant covers. But let's just go by the normal issues first. So, as I say, you get the introduction, you get the previously, and you get the stories we talked about. But right at the end, you always get in every single Titan issue, individual comic, is you get the variant covers and you get the next time variant covers. So this one you get cover A, the photo cover, and the incentive cover. So the photo cover is mainly the subscription cover. So if you subscribe, you get that cover all the time. And you get the release date, obviously, because the next cover. But then you also get the variant covers for year 2, which is cover A, cover B, and cover C of what covers you could get, or what covers you want if you want another cover. Now, that's what happens in the original comic. And with some graphic novels, it's very, very annoying. The difference between Marvel and Titan especially, is they collect their covers very differently depending on the editor of the book in general. So Arena of Fear is a really bad example of collecting a cover. So I'll give you a good and bad example side by side. Alright, Sin is a perfect example for a graphic novel with variant covers throughout, but that is in a different way as what the usual formula is. So I've went for another great example where the variant covers are different to what they are. So Arena of Fear, when I bought it, I'm very disappointed with how the variant covers were shown throughout the era. So if we just skip to Arena of Fear first. So in Arena of Fear, it's exactly like Fractures, where you get, but this time it's very different because it's changed. So you get the 2 variant covers at the first start, but not all of them are for the same issue. So you've got 2.7A for some reason there. And then you've got 2.6, which is actually the issue that's shown. And you think, all right, I can deal with that. And then where there's supposed to be a split, there's obviously no cover, which is very common for these graphic novels. And then it splits to another story with 2 variant covers, and could be different issues because I don't think they're for the right issues. And then you get another story, and then you get and then it cuts to, let me just get it. And then for some weird reasons, this is the end of one story. You can tell this is the end of a story and this is the beginning of another. But for some reason, this one does not have a variant cover, like half in it, to like split it. It just goes straight to the next story. So I don't know what the editors were trying to do with this graphic novel. But if you look right at the end of the book, I do like the little nod that they did where it's to be continued in that volume, but you get 1 variant cover at the end there, and then it goes straight to your collection. So you get, overall, I think in this book, you get 4 variant covers, about 4 to 6 variant covers you get in that, which is very disappointing, especially where you obviously expect that if you buy the graphic novel with all the issues in that you bought it for, all the variant covers would be included, which is right for majority of it. Now, for Hyperion, that is the case, and for majority of them, I've bought 6 hardcover Doctor Who graphic novels, and out of the 6, there's 2 graphic novels I would say that hasn't got every single variant cover in the actual book. So this one obviously doesn't start with a variant cover, but then it does show a few variant covers throughout. But the main case is what in majority of these books is, about I would say like 90% of the books, Titan books, is that all the variant covers are right at the end. And I don't mind that, because you appreciate it more when you realise some books don't actually have all the covers in. I'm trying to just skip without letting you. But alright, there's a variant cover, a big massive variant cover. But what I found out is that they're all in here anyway. So this is now the cover gallery. So this is all the covers for each individual issue. And this is how it should be like. So you've got 2 pages with them, 2 pages with some more covers in it, 2 pages with some more. And that is really how it's supposed to be set out, in my opinion, because of it being that you bought the issue, you bought the issue more expensive than it is. So you bought the book more expensive than the other comics. So you expect at least a little bit more, like all the covers showed, even though in the comics you see, as I say, you see all the variant covers already in the normal issues as there is. So you expect that they kept them in the graphic novel, which they do majority of the time. But that, I think, in my opinion, take a risk. Like, if you like that book and you want to collect it, take a risk and go, does it have the variant covers? You just check the back. Just check the back, really. That's my honest opinion. Just check the back. Okay, so the third and final thing we need to talk about is there any bonus content? Any bonus content whatsoever. So in the Titan comics, it is very, very limited. But I have found 3 examples where there's extra content near the back. So in some cases, like graphic novels, they usually have like sketches, and it's very rare, but there's sometimes some behind the scenes sketches. So example here, for behind the scenes of the Third Doctor's #1, we get a sketch of John Pertwee in Bessie, and then we get ink marking of the Third Doctor and Bessie. For the 12th Doctor, you get, because this is the final issue of the actual run, you don't just get, you get a behind the scenes sneak preview of a panel, because that's coming soon. He's an exclusive glimpse of the interior art for the year 1. And then what they did differently for the 9th Doctor was they've done a lot with the 9th Doctor with this. They either had letters, or they showed you an art process like they did with the 3rd Doctor, where it's been drawn, it's been coloured a bit, and then coloured a bit more, and tells you the actual process of how the artists have done their panels. And it's a nice insight into behind the scenes of Doctor Who comics in general. And the disadvantage I have for the graphic novels is that the ones that I've bought up to now have none of that in. They only have the issues and the covers. Hyperion, even though it is a sneak preview, so you can technically let it off, does not have any sketches of like coming soon, because that would have been already released, so you wouldn't need to. But it was the same that I found out for Weapons of Past Destruction and the 3rd Doctor, because I had those graphic novels. I don't know where they are now, but I had those graphic novels, and neither of them have the behind the scenes content of John Pertwee with Bessie, or the behind the scenes content of the alien partly drawn. So it's not really good with like extra behind the scenes like you would see in like Marvel graphic novels, or like Marvel omnibuses and DC omnibuses, where there's like character sketches or sketch notebooks, and not really that much in these. So in summary, do I think it's better to get the comics or the graphic novel paperback and hardback? Well, it really depends. There is obviously some downfalls of getting the graphic novel, but there's also obviously some downfalls to get the comics. If you want to get a story and you don't want to pay constantly around about like $2.99, $3.99 constantly every week just to get the finished story, and you want to wait to get the graphic novel, then that's the benefit of getting a graphic novel. Another benefit, especially for hardback, is if anything happens to your normal comic, or it gets wet, it rips apart, you've got the hardback which really won't, and it's probably waterproof as much because it's a hardback. However, with variant covers, like if you want to see all the variant covers, it's a safer bet to get the individual issues, because in almost every single individual issue I've got, and I've got a whole load of them, they show cover A, B, and C of each issue and each of next time's issue. So it's pretty good. Compared to the graphic novels, where you have about, I would say, out of mine, you got like a 9 out of 10 chance. So for me, I've got 5 out of 6 graphic novels. You've got 5 out of 6 graphic novels that you're going to get all the variant covers in the book. With structure, I would still go for the graphic novels, even though they might be a little bit annoying with the structure sometimes, where they change it, where sometimes you get an issue, then you get a cover, or you get all the story, all 4 issues, all 4 parties, then you get a cover, or you get all 4 parties, then you get the next 4 parties, or the next few issues without covering them. It's a bit wibbly wobbly, but the nice thing to collect. Also, another thing which is good for the graphic novels, storage. They're better for storage than the small ones are, because you constantly can just get loads and loads of these, and these are very, very thin. So overall, this is now overall afterwards, after I've just told you the summary of like the benefits and the downfalls. Oh yeah, also I forgot. Yes, there's no behind the scenes content in probably any of these. I think the closest you might get is the Third Doctor. There is a sort of like script, panel by panel sort of thing, where you get a few panels and there's the writer who explains what these powders are, and that's for the Third Doctor's graphic novel. I only know this because I've got the paperback of it, and that's what it has, and that doesn't have what the Third Doctor is. So it depends on every chance, because I think the Fourth Doctor might have that too. The Ninth Doctor might have that, but I don't think it does, because I've got the graphic novel for that. It doesn't. It just does the covers. So, in my opinion, is the graphic novel better, or the comics, as I've already said? It depends. That is what I'm going to say. It depends. Depends on what Doctor you get, and it depends on what you want. I would say if you're collecting the Ninth Doctor ones, get the graphic novels, because they have got all the covers in, and they might have some bonus material, but probably not. With the 10th Doctor ones, it's mixed. As I say, you've seen Arena of Fear, where it's got barely any variant covers, but then I think there's another book in the 10th Doctor which got all of them in it. And then same with the 12th Doctor, it's mixed. Hyperion's got loads, and School of Death doesn't really have that many. But I would say, Stu, to go for the graphic novels. I would say go for the graphic novels, and then if you want like the behind the scenes content, just buy the separate issues to get the behind the scenes concept. I think that's what I'm going to plan to do. Just because it's easier to read, you don't have to flip through every single issue, and yes, some variant comes down in there, but majority are usually in every single book. So in my opinion, get the graphic novels. And then if you're like a Whovian like me, like a Delvin Whovian, you want to see the behind the scenes, you want to see some sketches in there, buy the certain comics which have these. So I'll probably link them below what comics have behind the scenes. But for me, I found out the Third Doctor issue 1 has some behind the scenes. The Ninth Doctor's issue 4 of the New Adventures, not the ongoing, the New Adventures with the 5-part miniseries, that's also got character sketches in. And so has the Ninth Doctor issue 7, 6, and 5, I think, also have character sketches in of the Ninth Doctor. Every other one that I've seen up to now that I've got hasn't got any character sketches in. So I would still highly recommend to get the graphic novels. But there's a few issues I've just said that have some character sketches if you want to try and find them and buy them. So that's it. If you enjoyed this video, like and subscribe, and see you later.